Hey friends, welcome to Laugh on Blur. Wanted to kind of bring you up to date. My son is actually visiting with his father, and so last night I was on the phone with him, and I overheard from I guess from some. I thought it was coming from his phone, honestly, because he was playing a game, and the the character was cursing, and it was like f this, f that, god, this and that, I mean, all the curse words that you can think of. And I said, what kind of game is that? Why are you playing this game? And he said, that's not from my game, mommy, that's coming from daddy's TV, because I'm sitting next to him. I said, what do you mean daddy's TV? Why would they be cursing like that and you right there with your father? And yet he's not saying anything or not changing the channel so that you don't have to be exposed to that kind of language. So I was very disappointed with that. And I don't want to make a big deal about it. Of course, I did not say anything more because I don't want my ex to think that I'm trying to direct our son, or direct him in terms of how to best raise his son. But I'm definitely going to have a conversation with my son when I see him next and let him know, listen, that's not the kind of language you should be exposed to, and to make sure when he's with his father that his father doesn't expose him to that. It's kind of like in reverse. He's going to have to be the grown-up telling his father that he shouldn't be exposed to that kind of language. So anyway, that's the nonsense that I have to deal with, of course. And I'm praying that it's a good visit, because he's going to spend 2 weeks with his father. And you and I both know that I dread every visit, because I never know what the outcome is going to be like in terms of his attitude when I do get him. But I'm praying that all will be well. I went for a walk with my friend earlier, and we call it a prayer walk, because what we do is really just pray up a storm for anything and everything. But this morning, Nolan was really a key focus in terms of praying for his family. That young man in Mississippi that they left out there to die. And so we're believing that God will shed some light on things, that there will be a good facts will be presented, and judges will not be paid off, and that justice will be served for this young man and his family, because you're leaving a parent who's devastated. They lost a child, I don't know if he has siblings, but friends and family members, I mean, he had his whole life ahead of him, and yet for his life to be counted as nothing, and for some judge or police officers and all those who are covering up and not coming forward, my prayer is that God will pierce their hearts and that they will come forth. And those kids will tell the truth, and they will pay consequences for what they've done. And they deserve to be put in jail for what they've done. Because at the end of the day, you can't do things and have your actions be paid off by your parents, and then you go on living as if nothing ever happened. And I was telling my girlfriend, I said, you know what? These parents keep on covering for these kids. Every time they do something wrong, they cover. Those are the future serial killers, actually. Those are the future serial, I don't want to say that word on this platform, but there will be those that you need to be looking out for, because they're desensitized. They don't value life. If they don't value one life, they're not going to value the other. Yes, it might appear that they get married later on and have a whole family, but you know what? That whole mess is going to carry on from one generation to generation. So I'm praying that these parents value Nolan's life to bring these kids forth so that they can pay for what they've done and stop covering for them, because at the end of the day, whether it's going to be 5, 10, 15 years, you know what? That's what they deserve. They deserve to be behind bars for their actions. So that's all I have to say about that. You could see that I'm emotional about this whole thing, because it's not just Nolan. There's so many other names, other kids of color who have disappeared, who have been hung, or that have been brutalized. I don't have all their names, but there was that other kid that was wrapped up at the school in a carpet. I mean, how do you make sense of it? How do you do that to a human being, regardless of color? So I'm really praying that God will move hearts. Just move hearts. And have folks come forward and reveal what they've seen, videos that they may have, evidence that they may have that could help in these cases. I'm really believing that. So I'm believing that there will be a change in terms of folks coming forth, realizing that they need to stand up for what's right. Stand up for what's right. Stand up for what's right. And not conform to the evil of this world. Stand up for what's right. I thank you, Lord, that people will start standing up for what is right. And I'm believing that. I'm going to continue to pray for that no matter what. All right. Thank you, friends. This was a little bit more emotional than I wanted it to be, but thank you for listening to Life on Mumbler. I appreciate you. Until next time.